In this video I want to show you and critique work from my mentor Richard Raffan. I have some of his turnings here, and also I want to explain why I think he's one of the biggest influence in our woodturning community. I know he's the biggest influence in my woodturning career, and also why I always said that I would not be a woodturner that I am today if it wasn't for Richard's help and guidance. So stay tuned. Now, some of the stuff you'll see here, Richard actually turned on his YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. I don't store his turnings in a box. This is what this came in a few days ago, and I have a special shelf for his work. So these from the 3 years ago have a special place on the shelf here in the shop. Now I want to start with one of my favorite pieces, and this is the cross grain ash box. You can see how it looks on the inside, and if you watch a lot of my videos, then you'll find those videos or those designs are heavily inspired by this one here. And even recently, maybe a few weeks ago, I turned much bigger version as well, ash, a cross grain box that find a nice home in New Zealand. So again, I draw a lot of inspiration from Richard in terms of design elements, some of the key features that makes this piece, in my opinion, quite unique and well proportioned. So both the lid and the base are really close to be the same thickness, if not the same. Actually, they are pretty much the same thickness. So once you start the shaping and everything, you already have sort of a half and half proportion done. And I think that's a kind of cool element to start with. Now, obviously you can change that on the fly if you don't like the design, or you have some sort of a major change in design, so you have to adapt. But a lot of the shape that you see on this box you can see in my videos as well, like beads here so you can grip, and I think Richard actually grip in one of these beads here, actually not one but in the middle of this one. So actually I found the chuck as well that grip this bead. So it's a VM 100 chuck with VM 100 step jaws designed by Richard Raffan. So you can see how they grip this middle in between the two beads. So again, a lot of those features, gripping tiny beads or tiny details, I picked up from Richard. I think that's a really cool method of holding your work. You already have it finished basically on the outside, so you can grip it. It doesn't leave a mark if you mark it properly or make it properly, so it fits in a perfect circle of your chuck or slightly smaller. And overall, I think this is a really lovely box. And also you can see where he holds the lid on the inside to shape the outside. So in this tiny corner here, it looks like a rolled bead all the way around. A really nice and cool feature. I've done that a lot of times as well, again picking up from original piece, this one here. As I studied the piece, I watched the curve, how it flows, how the thick actually or heavy the lid is comparing to the base. In most cases it will be slightly heavier because there is a little bit more timber in this area rather in the base when you make it nice and properly, let's say. So the lid is slightly heavier, but not by much. Now this one, these two are actually from one of his videos. This one, and also there is a sister bowl in the box, which I'll show you in a few seconds. This is box elder burl, and he turned these two bowls, so this one and the gray one in the box, in one of his earlier videos, and I think looks really nice, and it aged really lovely. Now there is interesting thing to make here, or point to give. This timber is really nice and flashy, but over time, let's say building the patina on the grain or with use, the flashy grain can sort of mute down or even disappeared slightly. So getting the overall shape, in my opinion, that's what I learned from Richard, is getting the shape done properly is much better option, at least for me. So you can have slightly dull timber but nice shape, rather than having a really nice and beautiful timber but poorly made shape or proportions or anything like that. So again, in my opinion, the flashy grain or just the gorgeous timber in the world cannot substitute a perfectly made shape, let's say. So or on the quote, let's say perfectly, because each of us have different kind of opinion, but I think this one is really nicely done. Really nice even wall thickness here. It's a really nice thin bowl, and it's even nice flowing curve on the inside, and on the outside you can see nice flowing curve. It's not perfect curve in terms of curvature, but it's continuous curve. And I think in the video Richard didn't like the foot. I think maybe in this piece a foot will look a little bit better, so he turned that away. But nevertheless, it's a really nice piece, and I really love to look at it. So that's second one. This is Olivewood. Also he turned and show blood, I believe, for the first time in one of his videos, or the second time. So Olivewood bowl, really nice. You can see here, really nice stuff. One of his signature, let's say, outflowing bowls with beads. He also gripped one of these beads with shark jaws. So again, a really nice cool feature that I use in my work as well, and you really can't tell where you grip it once you've done it properly. Really nice balanced piece. Now this is one of his scoops. I think it's some sort of a pine or hemlock or something like that. I really like to keep it in my Olivewood bowl. I don't use it, at least this one, but the second one will go into kitchen, which is this one. I think he made this one also in one of his videos. This one is from Elm. You can see here, really nice. So scoop for, let's say, I don't know, coffee or something like that, flour even. Really nice, nicely shaped, a little bit of carving, a little bit of turning, so a little bit of everything. There's a lot to go into making one of these, and really looks stunning. Now let's open up new stuff here. So you might recognize some of the pieces already here, but I found this one really interesting. So you can see hopefully how this was turned green, finished green. Probably he dried it out in a microwave, and you can see how it warped heavily. Actually, it sort of shifted the center of the piece to the right. Not so much in this direction, but in this direction you can see the top is moved, I would say maybe quarters of an inch, 6 mil, 10 mils to the right. Really looks really lovely, much like a old pottery. And just show you up close again, a lot of the beads, his signature sort of a design elements, and you can see how thin it is because the light is showing through the beads. I will have to, there we go, maybe here you can see the light in the deeper part of the grooves here, or the beads, how it shows through. So again, really nice and lovely piece, and I've made a few of these as well. It's fun to do. What I like to do is just feel the inside. Now this is far from perfect in terms of symmetry, so it's warped heavily and so on, so the inside won't be as smooth as, let's say, perfect symmetrical vessel. However, I think this one looks even better because all of the natural shapes and natural curvature that warped out after drying, I think makes the piece really stand out. So really looks lovely. Now this one, I don't think he turned in the video. I could be wrong. This is also turned green, and also one of his sort of signature turnings. Also, I think he hold at this small bead at the bottom of the foot. You can see here his signature as well. Not sure what timber it is, but I like the texture of it. So it's not fragile. If you think that because it's thin, once it's dried out, you cannot bend it. At least not this timber, and rarely you can bend any other timber. What I like about this one, it did go oval, but it goes much more wavy at the rim, which I much more prefer rather than going with a just full oval shape. So again, he's sort of a signature OG profile here, and that follows on the inside as well. Really lovely, gorgeous piece. Now this piece may not be the best example, however, maybe here on the outside you can still see the discoloration of this darker patch here and the lighter timber here, but it's already got slightly muted. So getting the shape done, I think, again, in my opinion, it's much better option, or preferred option, at least for me. So that's lovely bowl. This piece here is also one of my favorite design from Richard. I used this inspiration for a lot of my work, especially when I done a lot of the dinner plates and dinner bowls. This was sort of fundamental in the early stages of my career, because a lot of people would order these square plates, which when you look at from the top, it doesn't look square. You can see it has a slight curve, but it actually is straight, as you can see on the side here. So it gives a little bit of illusion, but again, I think this is perfectly proportioned for this size. And again, I've done bigger sizes for dinner plates, and painted even the rims here for the clients if they requested it. So a lot of these has been made, and I really love it. Again, this one has just a nice flowing curve, doesn't have any flat spots or anything, just feels great. Again, it's a nice flashy timber. It has a nice ripple, this ash you can see on the top as well, but I think overall getting the shape done, it's much more better option. Now this is what I was talking about when I mentioned sister bowl in a box from this one here. So these two were turned in the same video, and look at the grain, especially on this one. Not sure why this part of the timber got this sort of a grayish color, but my god, it looks stunning. Looks like a gorge on the mountains, on a cliff. You could look at this grain and everything. Timbers. I love beautiful grain and color and everything, especially in this kind of, when you do it properly like this. You have a nice spiky area. It just looks like a cliff from some Nordic tales or something. Looks stunning. And again, I think the foot just looks better on the gray one versus here. But again, it's a personal preference, design option, but in this case I think it looks just beautiful. When you feel this burned texture and brushed texture, I mean, just feels amazing. And just show you a little bit broader view so you can see the inside. I would have to go to the original video just to see what the timber is called, but it didn't warp or split or anything during the burning, so it stayed nice and true, let's say. There are a few splits, but nothing major, and you can see how they nested. I think Richard draws a lot of inspiration from architectural side of things. So his onion dome, or in this case, I would maybe refer this to sort of a Japanese or Chinese culture. I mean, it looks really, really lovely. And the inside is finished nicely, as you can see. So really, really gorgeous stuff. Again, deciding on a design on this piece, it's, in my opinion, a lot of the personal preferences. Some may like this kind of approach, some may not. I like it. I really, really like it. And these subtle carvings here, they just blend naturally. Richard has extremely good eye for design. I mean, just really unique eye for design. Now this piece here, again, quite similar in terms of design to this smaller version. As you can see, this one is much closer to the one that I've made a few weeks ago in terms of size, and this one was a demo piece 2018, so I'm not sure where it was, where the demo was done. But it wasn't finished, and I'm not sure if it was sanded even. It's a tool finish actually, and again, same kind of design principles for this kind of approach. Again, same thickness piece, sort of same diameter piece as well, but this gets turned in, and then you have this kind of overhang of the roof, let's say. I mean, overall, I really love these boxes, and I just love to make these. They're really fun, and there's a lot of techniques and a lot of cuts. On the cross grain work, you have all those cuts implemented in one piece. So I really like making these cross grain boxes. Again, there is enough room for the lid to spin freely without binding up. So that's quite important, and again, just a straight tool finish. Now the final piece is this guy here. This was turned July 2025 in one of his videos, I believe, and there is a lot going on in a simple plate like this. So this could be a toast plate or a pizza slice or cookie or cake or something like that, but the way this feels just right. So perfect curve without any bumps or anything, perfect curve in terms of continuous curve. Again, we are not looking for a perfect curve like a sphere or something like that, circle, but continuous curve, so you don't feel any bumps or any flat areas or anything like that. One of his features as well, this small rim here, which is slightly undercut, ever so slightly, so you can expand jaws in if you have the right chuck, and you can finish up the outside, which is what I think Richard did. So he cut the tenon here, or the foot, and he didn't like the size, or he didn't have the chuck properly for that size. So there were a few marks on the outside, so you can grip here, and then you turn away, which you can see has a nice slope here, so you know it was turned afterwards. So again, just feels spot on. Simple curve here, just a simple turning like this is what I found really the most difficult thing to do. So that's I think the proper way of getting into wood turning, getting the shapes done and everything. Start with the simple things, because getting this shape, let's say, continuously done over the period, let's say, of 10-20 pieces for a set or anything like that, if you're making, let's say, a set for a restaurant or something like that, this is where you hone your skills to have a really nice and smooth continuous curves and everything. Again, nice and beautiful piece of ash, claret ash with nice ripples in it, but more what I'm looking for is just overall how this plate feels. And there is a lot of thoughts that you have to have sharper edges on the plates. Just gives a little better definition on the outside, but actually this rounded portion, as you can see here, just feels great. Just sits right, I would say. So as all of these pieces will go on a shelf, this one will go into kitchen and I'll use it every day. So this one won't be on a shelf. So when I started turning, I didn't have any luxury of calling it a hobby. So I had a day job and I turned basically 6 or 7 hours making double shift just to put the money on the table. And it was hard in the beginning, especially because I wasn't fast the way I wanted to be fast. I could not produce as fast pieces as I would like. And I tried many methods. I've tried to copy many turners. What I found the most absurd thing, and that it was, you have to follow this specific angle, you have to follow this specific technique, otherwise there are no results. And just by accident I stumbled years ago on one of his videos, one of the Richard videos that he done for fine woodworking, how to turn a simple cherry bowl. And I was mesmerized by his movement, his flow, his simpleness in every aspect of the turning of that simple bowl. So from shaping, from inside, using a scraper and everything, just felt right. And I started to examine his work, I started to contact him, and from that point on, pretty much everything else is a history. That doesn't mean that his technique, or the one that I'm showing or teaching, which is heavily inspired by Richard's technique of turning, is the right for you. But I would say that you have the luxury of trying out all the different techniques, trying to find which one works best for you. So that's the biggest take on this video and everything. Just try out what works best for you. Try out different shapes, different techniques, different styles, different design elements, details, and so on. There is no like set rules that you have to follow. All I could say, only one rule, and that is put the solid timber on the lathe. The rest of it pretty much can be done either with carbide scrapers, regular scrapers, gouges, combination, hybrid method, whichever method it is. Just find what works best for you. And if you're not sure in terms of design or how the curve should feel, buy turnings from other, let's say, more experienced turners, and you'll feel night and day difference, especially if you're just starting out. So thank you, Richard, for all your support and everything during these years, and thank you for this lovely gift, and thank you to all of you, and see you in the next video.